In a survival situation, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. This statement isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a truth that underscores the importance of readiness in life-threatening scenarios. When the unexpected strikes, the difference between survival and tragedy often comes down to how well one is prepared. Now, when we talk about preparedness, we're not just talking about having a stash of canned goods or a shiny new multi-tool. We're talking about a mindset, a way of thinking and acting that can make all the difference when every second counts. That's where the rule of 3's and 7's comes into play. This rule is a survival guide, a blueprint if you will, that outlines the critical time frames within which a person can survive without certain essentials. It's not just about knowing these numbers, it's about understanding what they truly mean and how to act accordingly. The rule states that a person can generally survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in harsh conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. On a broader scale, it introduces a timeline of 7 seconds to make a decision, 7 minutes to secure safety, 7 hours to establish shelter or protection, and 7 days to secure stability. But it's not just about these numbers, it's about understanding what they signify and how to act on them. In the course of this video, we will delve into these critical time frames and what they mean for you. We will explore how to apply these rules in real-life situations, be it in urban or wilderness settings. We will discuss the common mistakes that can break the rule and how to avoid them. We'll also talk about the gear and prep that matches each of these survival tiers, but most importantly, we will underscore the importance of training and preparedness. Because, as we said in the beginning, in a survival situation, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. Understanding this formula, the rule of 3's and 7's, can help you prioritize what matters most and act fast. The survival rule of 3's is your roadmap to staying alive when everything falls apart. Let's break down this survival mantra into its component parts to make it more manageable and relatable. The rule of 3's refers to the critical time frames within which your body can survive without certain essentials: air, shelter, water, and food. First off, we have 3 minutes without air. This can occur in situations where you're choking, drowning, or dealing with heavy smoke. The key here is not to panic. Learn the Heimlich maneuver and basic CPR. If you're in smoke, stay low and crawl to the nearest exit. Remember, every second counts when it comes to breathing. Next, we have 3 hours without shelter. In harsh conditions, exposure can kill faster than hunger or thirst. Hypothermia and heat stroke are real dangers that can creep up on you. Your first priority in any survival situation should be to find or create a shelter. This could be anything from a lean-to in the woods to an abandoned car or even insulation layers you're wearing. The goal is to protect your body from the elements and maintain a stable body temperature. Now let's talk about water. Humans can survive around 3 days without it, but that doesn't mean you'll be in good shape by the end of day 3. Dehydration can set in quickly, especially in hot climates or if you're exerting yourself physically. Signs of dehydration include dizziness, fatigue, and dark-colored urine. To avoid this, make finding and purifying water a top priority. There are many ways to do this, from boiling to filtration, and even collecting rainwater or dew. Lastly, the rule states that you can survive 3 weeks without food. While this is technically true, your body will start breaking down its own tissues for energy after only a few days, which can lead to serious health complications. The key here is to manage your energy intake and output. Hunt, forage, or fish if you can. But remember, in a survival situation, conserving energy is just as important as consuming it. Don't waste precious calories on unnecessary tasks. So why are these numbers so important? Well, when your life is on the line, it's easy to panic and lose sight of what truly matters. The rule of 3's serves as a simple, memorable guideline that can help you prioritize your actions. It's not just about knowing the rule, but understanding why it exists and how to apply it in real-world situations. Remember, survival is a game of priorities. Understanding the rule of 3's helps you keep your priorities straight. Whether you're caught in a natural disaster, stranded in the wilderness, or dealing with a societal collapse, these principles remain the same. Air, shelter, water, and food, in that order. Stick to the rule of 3's, and you'll have a fighting chance at staying alive when everything falls apart. Remember, survival is a game of priorities. Understanding the rule of 3's helps you keep your priorities straight. The survival rule of 7's is an expanded prepping strategy that takes your survival planning to the next level. Let's delve deep into the rule of 7's, which is all about decision-making, safety, shelter, and stability. Each of these elements is crucial in a survival situation, and neglecting any one of them can have dire consequences. First up, you have 7 seconds to make a decision. In a crisis, there's no time to dawdle. You need to make fast, smart decisions under pressure. This is where mental clarity is paramount. Whether it's deciding which way to run, what to grab, or where to take cover, these snap decisions can mean the difference between life and death. So, train yourself to think quickly and decisively. Practice scenario-based decision-making to help develop this skill. Next, you have 7 minutes to secure safety. This is about getting out of immediate danger zones, such as floods, riots, fires, or gunfire. Your primary goal should be to move as quickly and efficiently as possible to a safer location. This is where your knowledge of your surroundings and understanding of escape routes comes in handy. It's not just about running away, but knowing where you're running to. Then you have 7 hours to establish shelter or protection. This is the time to pick and fortify a safe location. You need to consider factors like the availability of resources, proximity to danger, and potential for long-term survival. Whether it's a natural shelter like a cave or a man-made structure like a building, your shelter should offer protection from the elements and potential threats. If possible, make improvements to strengthen your shelter and make it more comfortable. Finally, you have 7 days to secure stability. This is a full week to establish your new normal: food, water, security, and a plan. This stage is all about securing long-term survival. You need to find a reliable source of water, gather or hunt for food, and establish security measures to protect yourself and your resources. This is also the time to formulate a long-term plan, considering factors like potential rescue, self-sufficiency, and the possibility of needing to relocate. The Rule of 7's is a comprehensive guide to survival planning, but it's not a rigid framework. Each situation is unique, and you may need to adapt this rule to fit your circumstances. The important thing is to understand the underlying principles and apply them effectively. For instance, if you're in a harsh environment, securing shelter might take precedence over making a decision in 7 seconds. Or, if you're in a war-torn city, getting to safety might be more urgent than establishing a shelter within 7 hours. The key is to assess your situation, prioritize your actions, and make smart decisions based on the information available to you. The Rule of 7's isn't just about ticking off boxes on a checklist, it's about understanding the flow of survival, the importance of each stage, and the interconnectedness of all the elements. It's about developing a survival mindset that allows you to adapt, overcome, and thrive in any situation. One important aspect of the Rule of 7's is preparation. The more you prepare, the better equipped you'll be to handle each stage of the survival process. This includes physical preparation, like gathering supplies and learning survival skills, as well as mental preparation, like developing resilience, mental toughness, and decision-making abilities. Remember, the goal of survival isn't merely to stay alive, but to maintain a certain quality of life. This means not just surviving, but thriving. It means not just getting by, but living with purpose and dignity, and this is what the Rule of 7's is all about. The Rule of 7's isn't just a prepper mantra, it's your timeline for staying alive when everything falls apart. So take it to heart, make it a part of your survival strategy, and let it guide you in your journey towards self-reliance and resilience. Because when the chips are down, your survival doesn't depend on luck, it depends on your skills, your preparation, and your will to survive. Knowing the rules is one thing, applying them in real scenarios is another. Let's delve into how the rules of 3 and 7 can be put into practice in different contexts. A concrete jungle and a literal jungle are two different beasts, and your survival strategies need to adapt accordingly. In an urban setting, the air you breathe can quickly become a concern, particularly in instances of fires or gas leaks. Your first 3 minutes should be spent on ensuring you're breathing clean air. If you're dealing with smoke, stay low where the air is often clearer. And remember, a wet cloth over your mouth and nose can filter out some of the harmful particles. Shelter in a city might mean finding a safe building to hunker down in, one that's structurally sound, not in immediate danger, and ideally, away from the chaos. Your first 3 hours are crucial in securing this shelter. Water and food, for the first 3 days and 3 weeks respectively, can be scavenged in an urban environment. But don't forget, you're not the only one looking. You'll need to be quick, smart, and possibly even stealthy to secure these resources. In contrast, in a wilderness setting, your priorities might shift. Air is often less of a concern unless you're in a smoke-filled forest or underwater. Shelter might mean finding or creating protection from the elements. Water could be abundant, but it's not always safe to drink. And food? Well, you might just have to channel your inner hunter or gatherer. In both scenarios, the rule of 7 comes into play. You have 7 seconds to make a decision. Whether it's deciding to run or hide, to fight or flight, those 7 seconds could dictate the outcome of your situation. Next, you have 7 minutes to secure safety. In an urban setting, this might mean getting out of a burning building or away from a volatile crowd. In the wilderness, it could mean moving away from a predator's territory or escaping a sudden flood. Then you have 7 hours to establish shelter or protection. This could be fortifying your chosen building in the city or setting up a sturdy camp in the wilderness. Finally, you have 7 days to secure stability. This means establishing a routine, conserving and replenishing your resources, and staying vigilant of new threats. But remember, these rules aren't set in stone. They're guidelines to help you prioritize in a crisis. And that brings us to some common mistakes. 1. Waiting too long to act. Those first 7 seconds are crucial. Make a decision and act on it. 2. Focusing on the wrong things first. Remember your 3's: air, shelter, water, food, and then your 7's: decision, safety, shelter, stability. Understanding the rule of 3 and 7 isn't just about memorizing numbers. It's about knowing how to stay calm under pressure, how to prioritize your needs, and how to make fast, effective decisions. It's about having a mental framework you can fall back on when everything else is falling apart. And most importantly, it's about survival. Because in the face of disaster, knowing these rules can be the difference between life and death. Having the right gear and preparation can significantly boost your chances of survival. Remember, it's not about having the most expensive equipment or a mountain of supplies. It's about knowing how to use what you have, when to use it, and why it's important. Let's delve into the essentials for each stage of the survival rule of 3's and 7's. In the first 3 minutes, where air and immediate safety are critical, you'll need to have some basic knowledge and tools. Knowing how to perform CPR can be a lifesaver. Smoke escape hoods or even a simple wet cloth over your mouth and nose can buy you precious minutes in a fire situation. And in today's world, your everyday carry might include a personal alarm or pepper spray for immediate self-defense. Moving into the 3-hour mark, exposure to harsh weather conditions becomes a real threat. This is where your clothing choices become your first line of defense. Dressing in layers with moisture-wicking fabrics and insulation is a good start, and always carry an emergency blanket. It's lightweight, compact, and can reflect up to 90% of your body heat back to you. A small lightweight tarp can also provide quick shelter from rain or sun. On to the 3-day mark, where water becomes vital. Having a durable water storage container is important, but also consider collapsible ones for their portability. Water filters and purification tablets are also key. They can make water from questionable sources safe to drink. Don't forget about a metal container for boiling water too. As we stretch into the 3-week time frame, food becomes the focus. You'll want high-calorie, long shelf-life options like emergency ration bars. Don't overlook the value of hunting, fishing, and gathering equipment either. They can provide renewable food sources. And remember, a simple manual can opener can be a lifesaver when you're faced with canned goods and no electricity. Now, let's expand into the rule of 7's. In the first 7 seconds, the gear you need is more mental than physical. Training your mind to quickly assess situations, make decisions, and stay calm is crucial. Practice mindfulness and stress management techniques regularly. They're tools you always carry with you. In the first 7 minutes, the gear you need depends on the specific threats you're facing. From a sturdy pair of shoes for quick evacuation to a fire extinguisher for home emergencies, your gear should match your environment and potential risks. By the 7-hour mark, you should be working on establishing shelter or protection. A sturdy tent, a hammock, a sleeping bag, a hatchet for wood gathering, and a good quality survival knife are all good choices. Don't forget the value of a simple tarp, cordage, and even duct tape. Finally, in the first 7 days of a true grid-down crisis, you'll need to ensure you have a good supply of water, food, and medical supplies. This is where your prepping really pays off. A well-stocked first aid kit, a reliable source of light, a way to cook food, and a method to communicate or receive news are all important considerations. But remember, gear is only as good as your ability to use it. Make sure you're familiar with all your equipment and you've practiced using it in various situations. And most importantly, Make sure your gear supports your survival timeline, from the first 3 minutes to the first 7 days. When seconds count, having the right gear and preparation can make all the difference. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, even in the toughest of circumstances. The rule of 3's and 7's isn't just about numbers, it's about making the right moves when you're under pressure. We've traversed the terrain of survival, from those initial 3 minutes to the first 7 days. We've learned that the difference between life and death isn't always a matter of strength or luck, but often it's a question of preparation and understanding. This isn't a game of chance, but a calculation of time and resources. As we've seen, knowing how to prioritize our needs, from air and shelter to water and food, can make all the difference when the clock is ticking. But remember, it's not just about ticking off items on a list, it's about understanding the environment around you, making smart decisions under pressure, and having the right gear to support your survival strategy. Remember, survival isn't a destination, it's a journey. And on that journey, when seconds count, confusion kills. But knowledge, that's survival.